Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your Saturday morning to come and join me, and welcome to this educational presentation of how to get tomorrow's trade signals a day in advance. It really is that simple, and I'm going to walk through a step-by-step process with you to show you how easy it is to actually get tomorrow's trade signals a day in advance. Now let's start out by looking at this chart. This is roughly about a month ago in GWW. Now someone looking at this would say, well, Steve, not any clear signals here. Can't really tell what this stock is going to do. In fact, it's just basically going sideways in a range. So there's no way I can really tell what to do. Well, in all actuality, this stock took off to the upside. I'm going to share with you today a simple process you could have taken to actually have seen that a buy signal was generated 3 days prior to that big upward move. And you could have potentially captured upwards of 70 points. So once again, this promises to be a great presentation. Thanks for joining me today. My name is Steven Primo. I am the president and founder of Specialist Trading. About 8 years ago, I teamed up with Pro Trader Strategies, where all we do is mentor and teach our students around the world in over 110 countries and in virtually every state in the United States, all of the tips and techniques that I've accumulated in my nearly 41 years of trading. I started trading 41 years ago, over 4 decades ago, on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was on the floor for 16 years. 9 of those years I was a specialist. That's where we get the name Specialist Trading. And if you're not familiar with what a specialist does, he simply makes markets in roughly about 50 or 60 stocks. So if you wanted to buy or sell a stock, and even to this day, if you want to buy or sell a stock, you have to go to the trader who specializes in making a market in that stock. So I was a specialist during the crash of '87 and the bull market that followed, and I've traded straight up, straight down markets, sideways markets, any system, any strategy, any method you can think of, I've traded. So I know in my 4 decades of experience what works in terms of consistency, and I know what doesn't. And one of my main goals is actually to make trading as simple as possible, to make the process very easy for you so that it doesn't have to be overcomplicated. That was my trouble when I first started trading. Things were just so overcomplicated. I was throwing in the kitchen sink in order to think how to trade correctly. But I was lucky enough to have some mentors that actually taught me that the way to consistency is to make things as simple as possible. So I'll show you a simple process that you can actually start doing as early as today to find out what the signals will be for this Monday. But before we begin, as always, we are first required by law to show you this. So please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results using this particular method, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And please remember that all these examples are strictly for educational purposes only. So as you're taking a brief moment to view our disclaimer, I would also like to take this time to invite each and every one of you, if you haven't done so already, to follow us on Twitter. There's our handle right there. Probably a good idea to copy that down. Every day I post different information, anywhere from signals that our strategies have generated to actual bits of financial wisdom along the way. Lots of great free information, so feel free to follow us on Twitter. Now, as I stated at the very beginning of this presentation, we are a little bit different from other webinars you may have seen in the past, because our only goal is simply to teach you how to trade. In other words, we're not here to force feed you signals. We're not here to tell you what the perfect market is, the new strategy or system, flash in the pan method that's supposed to work 1000% of the time. We don't believe in that. All we want to do is supply our members around the world with sound fundamental education that has stood the test of time, because it's our belief at Specialist Trading and Pro Trader Strategies that the only way one becomes a consistent trader is by making their own decisions, by being in charge of your own trading. And the reason why most traders don't do that or don't know how to do that is because they haven't been supplied with the proper education to make their own decisions. So this is what we do at Specialist Trading. We are first and foremost an educational company. And as you can see here, my goal is not to tell you how to trade or what to trade. It's simply to teach you how to trade with the specialist edge. This is the same edge, the exact same edge that was taught to me some 41 years ago when I was struggling, when I first started trading. And I really strongly believe that it has sustained me for over 4 decades now. So hopefully the same teaching can sustain your trading as well. Now, as I stated earlier, we try to make things as simple as possible, because simplicity is the road that takes you onto that road to consistency. And so I'm happy to report here that everything we're going to be showing you today is generated on our new PTS Primo Charting Platform. I developed this with Pro Trader Strategies, and is developed specifically to teach traders how to trade. Remember, everything we do is specifically to teach you how to be in charge of your own trading. So this is what we do with the new platform. It's an educational platform that is designed to make things simple as possible. You'll see here in just a few minutes, and to teach you how to trade. Okay, so let's find out how exactly do we get tomorrow's trade signals a day in advance. Excuse me. So in order to find this out, it involves a simple process. Okay, so we can't just say, okay, well, tell me what to do. All right, because once again, that falls into that that crutch of having someone decide for you. You're supposed to be in charge of your own trading, but you need a simple process in order to find out and to make your own decisions as to what you want to trade. So here's the process I want to share with you. Once again, this is the process that is done completely with our new PTS charting platform. All right, let's go and take it step by step. First thing you want to do, obviously, is plot a chart. It doesn't matter if you trade E-mini futures, it doesn't matter if you trade Bitcoin or stocks, it doesn't matter, whatever you want to trade, currency pairs. Simply plot a chart. Now let's look at that chart we originally looked at in GWW, okay? Once again, you would have looked at this and said, well, Steve, there's nothing happening here. We're going sideways. I haven't learned your techniques or strategies yet, so I really don't know what you're seeing in this. And remember, at Specialist Trading and Pro Trader Strategies, we teach you everything what to look for. And we go through a step-by-step process of what is entailed in detail in the strategies. All right? All right, so you plot a chart. In this case, it's GWW. After you've plotted the chart, then you choose a strategy. Once again, this is not something that's just meant to generate up and down signals for you. You actually learn whatever the strategy is we teach you in our online courses. Let's say you are a member of our strategy number 4 course, which is our most popular as well as our most consistent strategy, because it virtually trades any market, any time frame, any direction. So it wouldn't matter if you traded stocks or if you traded currency pairs or futures. It wouldn't matter if you traded all those markets. Strategy 4 is a great strategy to start with. Okay, so all you would have to do is go to the upper green strategy tab here on our platform, click on strategy number 4. Once you do that, a drop-down menu will appear. Okay? All right, once that has happened, you want to simply click on scan. Once you click on scan, you'll see a drop-down window appear here next to your chart, okay, which says strategy number 4. After you've gotten that window, you click on load symbols. Now we provide you with a series of different symbol lists, anywhere from top ETFs, hot stocks, NASDAQ 100, S&P 500, currency pairs, Bitcoin. It's up to you. In fact, you can actually make your own basket of stocks or basket of market that you're interested in looking at on a nightly basis. But whatever symbol list you choose, once you load those, they will automatically appear in probably about 10 seconds, all right? Now, once that symbol list has appeared, you click on scan because it's already been programmed on our platform for strategy number 4. So you click on scan and you'll see a series of either green or red bars on the far right. All right, so what does this mean? Well, if you see a green horizontal bar, it's telling you that that is a buy signal in the corresponding stock. If you see a red one, it's telling you it's a sell signal. Now, you can do this at the end of every night. You can do this intraday while the market is trading to see what signals are currently in play. You can do it intraday. You can do it at the end of the week. It's entirely up to you when you want to do this. Let's say we're doing it at the end of the night. All right, you have a job. You're not able to intraday trade. You can't be in front of your computer 24/7. But you want to know what the setups are for the next day. You want to know what tomorrow's signals are for tonight. So you would have seen that a signal was generated in GWW about a month ago at the end of January. Now you could have decided whether to take that or not. Now remember, our job is not to tell you how to trade. Our job is just to furnish you with high probability setups. Now we would have taught you the setup behind the signal. It's not just our job to furnish you with up and down green and red arrows. What would you learn from that? We wouldn't be an educational company. We'd just simply be a signal service. And that goes entirely against our philosophy at Specialist Trading and Pro Trader Strategies. So even though we have up and down arrows, you still know what they're based on. You still know the concept behind those. So once you're a member of our courses, you learn the strategies. Now, the only reason why we provide this on a scanner is because there are literally hundreds of stocks to look through a night. So we don't expect you to do what I had to do some 40 years ago, which is look through the entire S&P 500 on a nightly basis. Now, with high-speed computers and programmers, we've been able to develop a very simple scanning process where in less than 60 seconds, you'll see all the setups for the next day. Now, you would have seen that GWW had generated a buy signal. After looking at this and with a few of the details that we teach you in the course, you would have said, oh, of course, there's a strategy number 4 buy setup here. Excuse me. Now, we know it's an expensive stock. If you didn't want to purchase it, you could have easily purchased calls or maybe some type of spread strategy, whatever you wanted to do. Maybe you actually wanted to buy the stock, but either way, you would have known 3 days in advance prior to it going up 70 points, all right? Now, you would have had 70 points potential to capture. We're not saying you would have taken all 70 points. Maybe you would have gotten in and out on the opening of the next day for maybe about 30 points. It's up to you. You could have done whatever you wanted to do. I know I probably would have gotten out on get that big, large gap opening, but it's up to you. You could have stayed in for more, all right? Once again, we're providing you with high probability setups so that you can make your own decisions. Now, this was something that actually our members of the Strategy 4 course could have found out 3 days in advance before that large move. Now, obviously, there was some signal, there was some fundamental news, there was some announcement that made the stock go up. Did we have any idea in advance of that? Absolutely not. You saw the stock was basically going sideways. There was no interest in it. It didn't look like anything was happening. But our philosophy is the market tells you what you need to know, not some earnings report, not some guy in a chat room, but the market. So everything you learn at Specialist Trading and Pro Trader Strategies is based on what the market is telling you. So the market told us 3 days in advance GWW wanted to go up higher. How high? We had no idea, but we also teach you different exit levels as well. Okay, now, I know a lot of you are saying, well, Steve, that's great, but that happened a month ago. I mean, that's kind of cherry picking it, isn't it? Okay, well, sure, if you want to look at it that way, then let me show you some recent examples that you could have scanned for using this simple step-by-step process in this last month. Now, when I say this last month, we're basically talking about the last 6 or 7 days because we're only really into the first week of March. So let's say we had given you this presentation excuse me, a couple of weeks ago, and you had signed up for the Strategy 4 course, or you had signed up for the PTS Primo Charting Platform, and you were free to walk through this process starting at the beginning of March. Let me just show you a small sample size of the examples that were generated you could have taken advantage of if you had so elected to. Remember, it's your decision. We're not telling you this is a system that you have to trade. It's up to you whether you want to take the trade. It's up to you whether you want to buy the stock. It's up to you whether you want to buy options to initiate the signal. How you decide is your choice. We're simply providing you with high probability entry points. Okay? So let's look at the buys first of all. And remember, these are all just focusing on stocks, but we could have easily done this with currency pairs. We could have easily done this with the futures, and also could have done this with Bitcoin. All right, March 2nd, buy signal is generated in XLNX, okay? You would have seen that on the night of the 2nd. You could have actually seen that set up 5 or 10 minutes before the close. So if you're lucky enough to be in front of your computer all day, you could have run a scan maybe 15 minutes before the close, seen what all the buy setups are, and say, hey, this kind of falls into my range. I like this stock. I've heard a little bit about it. According to my scenario and what I've seen here, it is a valid signal to go long, Strategy 4, and you know what? I like it. I think I'll go long. Well, on the 2nd, you could have purchased it, or the next day, it's up to you, and the stock has been up 5 points, okay? Not a bad little trade there. Remember, we're only 5 or 7 days into the month. Here's another example on the 5th, okay, this past week in DHR. Same thing, on the night of the 5th, you could have generated this buy signal. Now, once again, if you were lucky enough to be in front of your computer, you could have 15 minutes before the close seen that a signal was generated and taken advantage of it on the close, or you could have come home from work that day, run a scan, and said, oh, okay, I think I'll buy it tomorrow and get long. But either way, you could have purchased DHR, and the stock is now up 6 points, okay? Let's look at another example, NDAQ. This is on the night of March 2nd, okay? The second night of the month. This is like, a week ago. You would have seen on that night a buy signal was generated. Someone looking at this will say, well, there's really no, clear-cut outlook of this. I mean, it looks like it's gone up and it's coming back down again. Why would you generate a buy signal? Because the market tells us what it wants to do. not the fundamental news. We don't rely on that. If you want to look at that, that's fine. Remember, it's not our job to tell you how to trade. We're just giving you high probability edges here that have stood the test of time, things I've been using for 4 decades now. So on the night of the 2nd, you could have seen that the buy signal was generated, and, well, it went up the next day. But guess what? You would have maybe scanned again just to see what was out there on the next night, and another signal was generated. So this is giving you even more confidence, because you have 2 signals generated in this, the last 2 days, and the stock has gone up 6 points coming into yesterday. Okay. How about GWW? Okay, we looked at that initial 70-point rise that we talked about a month ago. Well, now here's another signal that was generated. Once again, someone's saying, but Steve, how can you buy this? The stock has gone up so much, and now it's starting to come back down here. It's got to pull back, maybe fill that gap, maybe come back a lot lower. You see how you always have to make up these justifications of what you think, which are really based off fear. You're starting to get scared and thinking that it can't go up any higher, right? The main thing is to let go of all that negative thinking and just focus on what the market is telling you. There's a high probability that it wants to go higher. Why? Because on the 5th, a buy signal was generated. You would have found out the night of the 5th. You could have gotten in the next day or that night. Remember, this is an expensive $250 stock, so you could have easily purchased calls. You don't have to buy stock. We just show you these high probability areas. How you want to get in is entirely up to you. But the stock has been up 21 points coming into yesterday. Okay? Did we know it was going to go up 21 points? No. It's entirely up to you. You could have gotten out with a couple of point gain. You could have gotten out and held out for 20 points. It's your decision. We show you different exit levels in the course that you can take advantage of. But remember, the main decision comes from you, not from us. This is not a system. And then lastly, Netflix, okay? On the night of the 2nd, here's a big buy signal. Someone say, but I just hate to buy when we've had a big up move, because usually when you have a big up move, you start to sell off a little bit. How can I buy here? Well, the market's giving you a clue as to what it wants to do. It's up to you whether you want to jump on board or not. This was on the 2nd, and the stock went up 25 points in 2 days. So we furnish you with all these high probability entry points, but you also learn them. So you know what they're based off of. We're not just furnishing you with up and down arrows to tell you, well, just blindly take this. You have no idea what it's based off of, but trust me, it should work. That's the way most websites work, and most of them fail. And that's why I think 85% of all traders fail, because they don't have any idea or really don't believe in what the system is based off of. We're supplying you with education so that you ultimately know why an up arrow was generated or a down arrow. Now, speaking of down arrows, let's look at the sells, because you could have said, well, Steve, the market's been going up. All you had to do was throw a dart at the Wall Street Journal. You could have made money, right? Anything went up. Well, that's not true. Remember, we're only looking at the first week or so of March, and there are sell signals generated. Remember, there are literally dozens of signals generated every night. This is why this process makes it so simple to find out tomorrow's signals a day in advance, because you don't have to search through hundreds, if not thousands, of issues every night. You can literally find out in less than a minute which ones are being generated, and you can search through the charts and see which ones best meet your needs. So there were some sells generated this last week. I may cheat going back a day or two prior to that, but that's okay. Here's one that was generated on March 7th, okay, this past week, a few days ago. Once again, this is just basically going sideways. Someone could say, well, why was a sell signal generated? Well, it was generated because the market was saying it wanted to go lower, and the stock fell 4 points in 1 day, okay? Now, not a lot, but that's only a roughly $25 stock. Let's look at something else. This is letter BIG, B-I-G, okay, or stock BIG. This was the last day of February, or a day prior to the last day of February. A sell signal was generated. Someone said, well, Steve, it's going up. How can we sell this? Well, according to what the stock was telling us, not the earnings or not some guy in a chat room, the stock was telling us it wants to go lower. So a sell signal was generated. You could have said, well, okay, I'll buy some puts tomorrow. It's $50 stock, or maybe I'll actually sell short right before the close here. And the stock kind of drifted lower, but coming into this past week yesterday, it actually had a large move to the downside. 9 points could have been in your favor in this 1 week. Now, while we showed you all those buy signals that were generated, there were also some very nice sell signals. A lot of stocks were going down as well. How about DG? Okay, once again, this was the last day of February, so we're kind of cheating by a day or so, but that's okay because you could have entered maybe March 1st or on the last day of February. But here's a sell signal that was generated, okay, based off what we teach you in the course. A strategy for a sell signal and 10 points to the downside coming into yesterday. Okay, remember, there are buy and sell signals being generated all the time. We have a lot of students that say, well, Steve, you know, I can't justify going long and short. I just have to be on one side, you know, and if I feel the market's strong, I only want to take buy signals. That's fine. Remember, you're in charge. We're not telling you, no, you can't do that. You have to take every setup because then once again, you're relying on us to make your decisions for you. You could also have said, well, I don't like this market. I'm only going to take the sell signals. That's fine. It's up to you. Every signal is its own little, a market, in other words. If you want to, you can look at the overall market and find out what it's doing and make your decisions based off that, but you don't have to. You can take each individual setup for what it is. Even if the market's going straight up, if you get a sell signal, you can take it. It's your choice. Let's look at CI. Once again, this someone could have surmised that this was a good stock. It's basically making higher lows and it's going higher. How can I sell this? Based off of the pattern recognition and the indicators in which we teach you in the Strategy 4 course, a valid sell signal was generated, I believe, March 1st, and 15 points to the downside. Look at that large gap down. Did we have any idea that this past week we were going to have a large gap down like that? Absolutely not. We just knew that from what the market was telling us, this stock wanted to go lower. Now, we don't know how low. It could be going down a couple of points. It could be going down 50 points. That's why in the course we give you different exit levels. And you can decide, well, I think it should go down this far. I'll use this exit level. Or I think it should come to this level. I'll use this one. Either way, it's your choice in the end. Okay, so let's recap what this process is, and then I'm going to tell you about a great offer we have for you taking time out of your Saturday morning to join us. Our nightly scanner generates tomorrow's trade signals a day in advance. Now, do they all generate winners? No, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that every trade's a winner. There will be small losses from time to time. That's the beauty of our methods, though. A small loss is usually recouped rather quickly. So many times you'll have a small loss or even a series of small losses, then you'll have a great trade that makes back all of those losses, okay, in one trade. So that's the beauty of consistent methods. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. The 1 step back is a small loss that will happen every once in a while. That's perfectly okay. I often tell students, I say, I lose all the time. On Friday, my first couple of trades were losers. My last trade was a winner that made everything back and more. So that's the kind of method you want. You know, if anyone tells you that I have a strategy, a system that never loses, you know, don't believe them because everything loses. Not everything in life loses. Not every business, does well every month. Not every athlete does well every game. Not every entertainer does well every album or every film. They all have small little losses. The great ones are the ones that are able to recoup it and come back. That's the same way with strategies and with methods. Okay, there will be small losses every once in a while, but the beauty is if you have a method that's able to recoup them and get back on track. Okay, so I'd like to ask you a question before we go to question and answer period of this presentation. Do you think this edge could have helped your trading this past year? Just imagine, remember, once again, all the examples I just showed you took place this past week or so. If I had given you this presentation a couple of weeks earlier and you had signed up to become a member, do you think you could have taken advantage of just a small sample size of what I showed you today? Well, let me share with you what we're going to be offering you so that you can take advantage of all the great setups that will be generated this coming week. We're going to offer you our PTS Primo charts. Remember, this is designed to teach traders how to trade. This is not a signal service. We're not just saying, okay, well, just punch this button and you'll get up and down arrows for tomorrow. You're going to learn why they were generated in the first place. Plus, you're going to give you a lot of more different and really advanced features included. We're going to give you a 30-day trial for only $7. Okay, think of that, $7. You're going to get roughly 4 decades of things and information and techniques that I've accumulated in 30 days for only $7. Okay, This is a great, great offer. And let me show you what's included in this in our PTS Primo Charting Platform offer. We're going to throw in one of our best pullback strategies. This is strategy number 1. This is specifically designed to find an upward trend and to buy at a lower price in that upward trend. It's also looking for a strong downward trend and looking for availability to sell at higher prices within that downward trend. It's one of our most consistent pullback strategies. You're going to get all the rules and the ability to generate up and down arrows in that. You're also going to get steps 1 and steps 2 entry techniques. These are 2 proprietary techniques I was taught some 40 years ago on the floor that can be used on any method, any strategy, any system. So if you're having trouble with your current method, maybe you get in too early, maybe you get in too late, maybe you have a good trade and you want to get back in, you don't know how to do it, steps is for you. It automatically generates high probability entry signals. It's just an entry technique. We're also going to throw in the scanner, which we share with you today. You're going to get that full capability to scan with the list of stocks, currency pairs, futures, Bitcoin, so you can find out what tomorrow's signals are today. Now, here's a great example of what happened this last month in February, just about a month ago. A lot of people say, well, Steve, but the news kind of takes over everything. There's no way that, I can be in sync with the news. Well, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, oh, yes, we're always on the right side of the news. But remember, it's about consistency. Let me just share with you something that happened a month ago. Twitter rockets more than 20% after the company reports first ever net profit, Yahoo Finance reported, okay? So the stock jumped more than 20%. We've all seen Twitter has been plunging lower and lower. This was a big move it had to the upside. So let's look at the stock prior to that announcement, okay? Prior to the earnings and how much it has been generating in profits. As we see here, the stock's really doing nothing again. In fact, it looks like it's rolling over. It made a top and now it's coming lower. But if you had been able to scan, you would have seen that on the 5th, the night of the 5th, a buy signal was generated, okay? Using strategy 4. So all you would have had to do is take advantage of that prior to the news, and then the stock jumped up 10 points in 2 days. Now you can see this, even though this is strategy 4, this happens over and over again with all of our different strategies, strategy 1, strategy 3, a multitude of different things. You can also use the steps to fine tune the entry points that you could have just used for this if you liked the stock. So there's a lot of times that we are in advance placed strategically in a stock or a future prior to the announcement. Now we also trade other markets. So I don't want you to think that the strategy you're going to be getting or the scanner can only be used for stocks. Here are a few examples of actual signals that were generated in other markets. Here's a weekly chart of the euro dollar. Let's go back to last year, November of last year, about 6 months ago. Remember, all these bars are weekly bars, so it's a little longer time frame. Buy signal was generated when it looked as if the currency pair was headed much, much lower. And look what has happened coming into February of this year. 900 pips or $9,000 per unit. So we're not saying you would have held out that entire time, but you had that much to work with. We can also look at an hourly chart, an entirely different time frame, an entirely different market. Here's an hourly chart of the E-mini futures this past month. All right, sell signals generated. Looks like we're making a support level right here, but a sell signals generated, and in 1 day, the futures dropped 112 points, or roughly about $6,000 per contract. It's up to you how much you wanted to take out of that. I often say it's like you can walk up to a river, and how much water you want to pull out of that is up to you. You can come up with a spoon and take just a spoonful of water. You can come up with a big glass or jug and take a jug full of water. Or you can come up with a Big Mac truck and fill the entire back of it full of water. It's up to you. There's no right or wrong way to trade. So you could have taken 1 or 2 points and gotten out of this, or tried to get as much as possible, maybe 112 points. We share with you the different levels that are high probability exit points. But in the end, how much water you want to take out of the stream, how much money you want to take out of the market is entirely up to you. And then lastly, Bitcoin. Okay, we know that there are a few Bitcoin traders out there. Now we know that the Bitcoin has been going lower. Well, in just a month or so ago, a sell signal was generated when everyone thought that the sell-off was over and it was going to go higher, but it still fell another 5,000 basis points coming into February. So You're going to also get included with the scanner our enhanced buy sell line. You've seen me do webinars about this before on Saturday. This is the one tool I would never leave home without. I've said this before, if I were stranded on a desert isle, if I were in prison, I could never trade with another tool again. This is what I would use, okay? This is our proprietary way of seeing what side of the market we should be on. In other words, the blue background says that we are in the buy zone. The red background says we're in the sell zone, okay? So you see the strong upward slope. This is the high probability point of trading any market to the upside. Why? Because price is in the buy zone and you have a strong upward slope. So this is telling you there's a lot of momentum, there's a lot of strength behind this upward market. You would not sell or even consider selling until price had consecutive closes in the sell zone. And the same thing works on a downward market. As you see here, once we crossed over into the sell zone, you don't want to be a buyer anymore. And had you continued to buy this FOSL, do you think you would have made any money? That's the beauty of this technique. So here's our sell zone, here's our buy zone, and at this point you started to get a very strong downward sloping move here. This is where the high probability sell signals are in place. We're throwing our proprietary and enhanced buy sell line in as well. Now, if you like to tinker under the hood, if you like to experiment and create your own strategies, we're offering you over 90 technical indicators, some of the most common and popular indicators to work with. Now, even though we have a technical bias, we still know that a lot of people rely and like to listen to fundamental news. So because of that, we have also included free Bloomberg TV. We have a media page on our platform where once you click on, we'll automatically generate a window that has live Bloomberg TV. So if you'd like to see any news announcements, any earnings reports, or listen to what the commentators are saying about what's going on economically, we have a live media page with live Bloomberg TV for you. You can have this running while you're also looking at the charts. And then lastly, this comes with personalized tech support. If for any reason you have trouble pulling up a chart, using the media page, anything, contact our tech support, and usually the issues are resolved in just a matter of moments, okay? This is all amazing stuff that we've worked into, put this into our PTS Primo Charting Platform, taken us years to develop, and made it extremely simple. Normally, this would cost you hundreds of dollars. We're giving you 30 days for only $7. Now think of it, this is Saturday, all right? Let's say it's Saturday morning, you want to go out to breakfast, you want to get some pancakes, you want to get some eggs. I can guarantee you can't even go out by yourself to get a breakfast this morning for less than $10, okay? Coffee included. So if you want to go and have a full meal with 2 people or more, your whole family, it's going to cost you $25, close to $50 possibly. For 30 days of education that has taken me 4 decades to accumulate, we're throwing all this in for $7, okay? So this is a great, great offer, and I strongly urge you to take advantage of this as soon as possible before we go back to the price, which I believe is close to $97 a month, okay? Here's how to take advantage of this. Contact my sister site, which is Pro Trader Strategies. I developed the platform with them, so they can answer any questions you have about that as well. You can call them directly at 310-598-6677. Now, here's the link that you see at the very bottom that will take you to that $7 sign-up page. It's not a live link. You're going to have to copy and paste that onto your browser. But if you look on the chat box on the far right, you can see that there is a live link that has been posted. So all you have to do is simply click on that live link, and you will see that you can click that on, and it will take you automatically. Now I'm going to leave all this information up here so you can take advantage of it. Remember, $7 is a great, great offer, and I'm going to open up the question and answer box and see what some of your questions are. Let's see. Some of you were having trouble. You were having no sound or no information. Well, one of the good things about all of our presentations is we record everything. So if you had trouble hearing me in the very beginning, I know not everyone did because I took a test, a audio-visual test prior to this presentation, and most of you got back to me saying that everything was fine. So usually it's just your own internet connection or your browser. If you log off and then log back on again, things are okay. But if you still had difficulty, don't worry, we will furnish you and provide you with a link to this recording so that you can watch it in your own leisure, okay? Let's see. Can you show, let's see, Dave is saying, can you show from the chart what are the buy signals for the coming weeks? Actually, not. This is not a live presentation. This is a PowerPoint static presentation. But you know, like I said, for $7, you'll be able to do that in a matter of moments, and you'll see all of the signals for the next week. So it's really up to you. Okay. Pierre is saying, how can I scan currencies? Well, remember, Pierre, I said all you have to do is go to that scanner page, and then when it says symbols, you'll click that on, and an automatic list of symbols will appear, anywhere from you know, stocks, ETFs, Bitcoin, and currency pairs. Now, we provide you with the currency pair list. So all you have to do is click that on. You'll see a list of currency pairs, and then you click scan, and that's where all of the signals will be generated for currency pairs. So it's that simple. And remember, this whole process probably takes less than, I would say, less than 30 seconds, maybe a minute at the most, depending on how many stocks you want to look at. Okay. Let's see. Let me see here. A lot of people are asking questions, so it's kind of moving quickly. Excuse me. What's the monthly cost after the 30-day trial? Good question, Peter. I believe the monthly cost for the platform is $97. You'd have to check to make sure with Pro Trader Strategies. They may have other discounts going on, some other discounts, including some other strategies. So anything with price, discounts, or marketing of the platform, Pro Trader Strategies are the best ones to talk to. I'm strictly involved with teaching and with training of the actual strategies, okay? Let's see, does this work on E-mini 5-minute charts? Thanks. Yes, it does. As I stated earlier, remember, it all depends on what market you're looking at. If you're looking at a 5-minute chart of the E-mini, you can get a scan intraday while it's happening. So, you know, you can see if there is a setup being signals on the 5-minute chart. But just remember, you know, this is something you're going to have to be very quick with, because once that 5-minute chart has concluded, you know, there may be a buy signal there, and you'll have to jump in rather quickly. But our goal is not to have you rely on this to find out how to trade. Our goal is simply to simplify things for you. We know that there are tons of stocks, tons of futures, tons of currency pairs to look at on a nightly basis. So we're providing you this service so that you can, rather than look through hundreds of issues every night, you can have this available in a matter of moments. But remember, our goal is not to take the trading away from you. You're supposed to be in charge of that. As I stated in the very beginning, it's our goal to teach you, not to force feed you signals. So we don't want you to rely on this scanner on 1-minute charts or 5-minute charts to find out what to trade. You should, after our training, you should be able to see these things automatically. I mean, right now, I can look at a chart, a 5-minute chart or a monthly chart. It makes no difference. It could be a Bitcoin, it could be currency pairs, or it could be futures. And I know when a signal has been generated because I've had that training for years and years, and I know what to look for. So we want to get you to that point. Now, the scanner is just there to simplify things so that you don't have to do that looking through hundreds of charts every night or during the day, okay? Wu asked, what happens after the 30-day trial? Well, after the 30-day trial, it's entirely up to you. You can decide for yourself if you want to continue. You're not locked in, but I think, you know, we've had so many people, we've presented this before in the past, we've had so many people that have decided to stay on with us because they're just convinced and locked into this great, you know, amount of information and education. So there's no commitment. You can decide whether you want to continue, which I believe the price goes less than $100. And if you have any platforms, you know that, you know, most platforms are $200 to $300 a month. This is still less than $100 a month to get all of this information, okay? Yeah, you have currency pairs. We do have currency pairs. If you were thinking about the currency pairs, Pierre, I showed you an example, a weekly chart of the euro dollar. That was all done with the scan and with our strategy. So yes, we do have currency pairs, okay? Wu asked, what's the winning ratio of the strategies? Okay, I get this question just about every time. Remember, these are not systems. These are strategies. You can only get statistics or numbers from a system, all right? Because why? Well, they're rule-based, and systems require that you trade the same way each and every time. So that's the only way you can come up with win-loss ratio. That's the only way you can come with worst-case scenario, because you've done the exact same thing regardless of the market environment, regardless of the risk, you have to take the trade. Okay, that's the way systems are based off. That's the fundamental core of systems. Strategies, even though they're rule-based, are different. Strategies are roughly about 60 to 70% rule-based, but they offer about 30% discretion. That discretion is the teaching we give you, the different exit levels, the different entry levels, the different stop placements. So this means that everyone, even though they get the same signal, can trade it differently. One person can take a signal and say, oh, wow, I made 2 points. The other person can say, well, I made 20 points. The other person can say, well, I lost money. It all depends on how you used your money management, how you decided to exit, how you decided to enter. So there's no way we can furnish you with any win-loss statistics or any worst-case scenarios, because everyone trades differently. And in fact, we encourage that. Remember, we are an educational company. I said that in the very opening. We're not a statistical, systematic company. We're here to educate you. So for that very fact, we want you to trade based on your own needs. That means everyone comes up with different statistics, okay? Peter's saying, if we buy strategy forward, does it come with the scanner? Well, if you get that along with the platform, yes, I believe it should. With the platform, you will get the scanner. So I would contact Pro Trader Strategies. They may furnish that with it, and even more. Okay, so they're very lenient. They're very happy to get you introduced to all of our techniques and methods and strategies. So contact them. They have trading consultants manning the phones right now. There's no obligation. You can call them and ask them questions like this, like, what do I get with strategy 4? What happens if I want to continue after 30 days? They can maybe lock in a deal for you. It's up to you. Okay. Let's see, Charles is saying, if I pay $7 and at the end of 30 days or just prior, will I get an email notifying me the 30-day period is getting close? Will PTS automatically charge my card? First of all, Charles, no. Remember, there's no obligation. It's up to you to decide. I believe you have 30 days and then it just expires. So let's say you're excited about it and you go, boy, this is great. After 30 days, you can't use it anymore. So it's up to you to contact them. Now, once again, call Pro Trader Strategies. They'd be happy to answer any questions. If you want them to contact you, they'll be happy to do that. If you want them to lock you in or not, it's up to them. There's no obligation. You can see that in good faith, we're not coming here with a webinar on a Saturday offering you a great deal and then charging you $500. We don't believe in that. By the very fact that we're charging you such a low price, we're trying to have a get acquainted type of a mentality here with you. We're not trying to sell you the farm. So we know that a lot of people will like this. We also know that a lot of people, it's not their cup of tea. That's fine. We don't want to have you locked in for anything. Awesome. It's what exactly I was hoping for. It tells me more about your company. Well, yes, Charles, I think I said it in the opening sentence. We are an educational company. That's our only goal. We want to educate you. I think one of the main things is we've been taught that, or sold this bill of goods, that there's only so much to go around. In other words, there's only so many profits you can take. You're competing with someone every day. I don't believe in that concept. I mean, you can look at it like that, but to me, there's more than enough for everyone. Just because I buy the same thing you buy or sell the same thing you sell doesn't mean we're going to be only one can be a winner, one can be a loser. Just because we walk up to the same ocean, we can both go jump in and have a great time. There's more than enough water for everyone. There's more than enough oxygen for everyone. We don't have to compete for it. So why wouldn't it be in my best interest to educate you? I can educate you along the way. It's challenging, but it's very rewarding to know that the way someone taught me that has allowed me to continue trading for 40 years, I can do the same thing to other people. And now I can do that to hundreds of people over the internet. So that's what we're really looking for. Look at it in good faith. We're charging you $7. I mean, if we really wanted to come here and we were just a vendor, we would charge a lot more than that. So, we have a fairly good sized crowd here today, but we don't have an enormous crowd today. So it's, there's in no way are we going to make a killing from everyone in today's presentation taking advantage of this offer. So there's no way. So we're just trying to get acquainted with you. And you can see in good faith, once you have 30 days of all of our information, then you can make the decision for yourself. We're not locking you in to anything, okay? These are all great questions. And remember, the main questions I seem to be getting from most of you are about the discounts and the deals and the what's included, and that's great. but those are questions that most likely would be better answered by Pro Trader Strategies because that's their department. They handle all that. They handle any discounts. They handle any type of payment plans. They handle any type of offers, especially with the platform and technical support. So there's no obligation to call them at the number or email them. My best suggestion would be to call them because there are trading consultants manning the phones and they can answer any question you have. No obligation. You're not locked in at all. Okay. My only suggestion would be to take advantage of this because this is probably going to last just for a couple of days and then the price will go back up to roughly, I believe, $97 per month. So take advantage of this. $7 once again. If you went out to lunch today, fast food, you would probably spend more, closer to $15 or $20 for a couple or 2 or 3 people, even at a fast food restaurant. So let's look at if you traded yesterday, you probably spent more than $7 in commission costs. So we're showing you in good faith, $7 most people can afford. So take advantage of this. And remember, I trade these methods. Strategy 4 is something I showed you today. I have been trading Strategy 4 in some capacity for over 4 decades now in my personal trading. I've traded it with stocks. I've traded it with currency pairs, with futures. So it can be transferred onto any market. It's a great way to get acquainted with us. And it's a great way to really get your trading consistent. So I use this personally on a daily basis as well. So it's a great method, but we're also throwing in other strategies as well. And in our starter package, we're giving you strategy 1, which is a great pullback method, okay? So take advantage of this. Any more questions concerning the discounts or the platform, contact Pro Trader Strategies. They would be more than happy to answer any questions about the software or anything included, okay? Anything with teaching. Oh, one more thing. Once you sign up, and if you do sign up to become a member, even just for 30 days, you will have my personal email address. So you can contact me whenever you'd like for any questions, and I will answer your questions within this 30 days. Anything, providing, it has to do with teaching of the method. So with the buy-sell line, the background color, the buy zone and the sell zone, with strategy number 1, with steps, techniques, I will answer any question you have. Someone with 41 years experience right there at your doorstep to answer questions. So there's a lot included in this $7 offer. Please take advantage of it. Would love to have you jump on board. So thank you so much for attending today. I hope you saw how simple it is to get tomorrow's signals tonight, okay? And you can actually be up and running with this in a matter of moments, and you'll find out exactly what the setups are for Monday morning, okay? Thank you so much for attending. I wish you the very best of luck, and I look forward to most of you becoming students and members of mine at the new PTS Charting Platform. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.